Good evening. It's Tuesday, July 21st. It's 7:59 p.m. Barometer has reset it. Let's take a look at the latest numbers and news. It's Tuesday, and this is when we usually get the the big numbers at the beginning of the week, and that's what happened. USA number one with 67,000 new cases. Brazil second, 44,000. India third, 39,000. South Africa fourth, 8,000. In terms of deaths, we see a huge rise in deaths, especially in the USA. Brazil with 1,346 deaths. USA with 1,119 deaths. India 671 deaths. And Mexico 301 deaths. So I'll look at the graph right here. Well, cases are not even close to peaking. It's just gonna turn into one giant wave worldwide. The deaths are climbing, as you can see right here. It wasn't as obvious at first, but now it's definitely obvious. We're hitting a massive wave of deaths. That's surprisingly a lot slower than the first one, but kind of shows you the whole inaccuracy of the numbers. If we look at total deaths, let's see where the other countries are at. China would have obviously that's a lie. The plus 11. Sudan probably gonna report late. And for today, Wednesday should be something else because you can already see Mexico is already reporting 915 new deaths for tomorrow's tally. It's very concerning. Australia is losing it with 466 infections and 2 dead. It's a shame. South Korea is still getting hit. China with a plus 14. That's and so let's go state by state with the USA. I think California was the heaviest hit state based upon today's numbers. If we take a look, yes, California with 10,000 new cases, Texas with 9,000, Florida with 9,000, Arizona with 3,000. Georgia climbing also with 3,000 on 5th place. In terms of deaths, Arizona number 1 with 134, Florida 132, California 120, and Texas 4th with 118. We got 4 states reporting in the hundreds. And if this doesn't stop, we're going to start seeing states reporting in the 200s pretty soon. As you can see, state-wise, California is just 25K away from surpassing New York in total cases. It's almost there. Florida right behind, Texas as well. In terms of deaths, New York's still number 1. New Jersey kind of was second. Massachusetts is there. California is the one rising that could potentially surpass New York if this is not contained. But first, before we get to the news, we're going to look at a story going on in Texas. Report number 53, Texas crematories go burr. Over 4,000 have died in Texas from SARS-2, an unaccount since many perish without being tested. Funeral homes are running out of storage space for the dead or facing burying delays. Crematories are backing up. Mobile morgues have been dispatched up behind hospital and funeral homes. Bodies line the floors. With surging deaths, Lopez barely sleeps before he gets back into it. He's transported young and old who died with the virus. He doesn't visit his parents out of fear they'll get sick, and he wears protective equipment regardless of cause of death. It's a total nightmare. In the busy crematories, the ovens are overheating from so much use, causing delays. Funeral homes elsewhere might become short-staffed if funeral directors have to quarantine. Legacy Chapels in Edinburgh have received 72 calls to pick up bodies in the last 2 weeks, when they only had 500 a year. The funeral director has had to stop accepting crematory-bound remains. Corpses are left for weeks as families had to quarantine as well. Friday, Castro drove through a cemetery billowing black plumes from the crematorium. It's been burning 12 hours a day all week. Everyone I'm talking to, Rio Grande Valley, San Antonio, Dallas, Austin, everyone has seen a huge increase in SARS-2 corpses. It could be one of my family members. It could be a friend of mine. Sometimes it is. He picked up the mother of a friend last week, a woman who had cautioned him to be careful as the virus started spreading and prayed for him. She got it 2 weeks ago. He sees a lot of families infecting one another. Some funeral homes will have employee videos, conference ritual, prayers instead of in person. Because hospitals and nursing homes have been largely closed off to visitors, many grief-stricken families couldn't see their deceased loved one for weeks before death. It just gets worse and worse in Texas. Now with the latest news, today's news, 721. First, we'll look at majority American news. New York, Warren County on Tuesday confirmed another positive SARS-2 case stemming from a large gathering in violation of state regulations. The person attended at least 2 large parties this month where proper precautions were not taken, including a graduation party that was attended by more than 50 people, a violation of the state's lockdown. County contact tracers were told those in attendance were not wearing masks. The person then attended a family gathering of 20 people where no masks were worn before going out to dinner with a friend. Meanwhile, the county is refusing to release the name of a facility where a healthcare worker tested positive on Monday. The asymptomatic person was found to be positive after a routine test. More than 100 people have been asked to quarantine as a result of the case, and many more are expected after contact tracing. Illinois report 27 Chicago area restaurants that closed permanently due to SARS-2 pandemic economic woes. So in the link, in the archive link, there's 27 examples of 27 restaurants that were shut down because of loss of profit from the pandemic. Now, a lot of people who own small stores, they don't want to open them because they think the virus is fake. They want to open them because they don't want to close down. They don't want to lose their money. They don't want to go homeless. It's a very desperate situation going on when it comes to small companies. All the meantime, the big companies are just surging in sales. Oklahoma, no new SARS numbers released following technical data entry issue. How convenient. California, downtown Los Angeles skyscraper US Bank Tower will be sold at a discount to the developer of One World Trade Center in New York as the pandemic drives down office leasing across the country and raises questions about the future appeal of high-rise office buildings. Standing 73 stories on Bunker Hill, it is one of the tallest structures west of the Mississippi River. Trump shifts tone on SARS-2, eats his own words, and says it will probably get worse before it gets better. White House advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci said that he was not invited to Tuesday's White House briefing on the SARS-2 pandemic, the first such briefing in months. More, Orange County now has second worst SARS-2 outbreak in California. In early June, the county's public health officer resigned after weeks of verbal attacks, including a death threat, over the mandatory mask rules. Her replacement later only strongly recommended masks in public. So we've talked many times about why this happened. And, I've said it a million times already. Just a lot of misinformation going on. We had things like pandemic going on, Andrew Kaufman going on. People just lying, straight out lying to make $1 out of the fear of the people, and it's working. And this is partly the result. LA may become the biggest U.S. city with a second stay-home order. Health experts suggest second lockdown if the surge doesn't stop. Many cheered when state and local officials began reopening the economy in May and June, but it got worse. Some people went back to old habits, such as participating in summer social events, and some employers are not enforcing safety rules. Officials believe many are becoming infected at work and bringing the virus home. Waldman, president of the Valley Industry and Commerce Assistance, watched with dismay as people ignored health guidance. Another shutdown could leave businesses already reeling from a month of losses at the breaking point. That's what I was talking about earlier. On Monday, public health officials reported at least 3,128 new cases, pushing the cumulative total past 159,000. The number of people hospitalized in LA County with confirmed SARS-2 infections on Sunday was 2,218, the second worst tally so far in the pandemic, just below the record of 2,232 set on Saturday. Ferrer, the LA County Public Health Director, said Monday that there are 3 main reasons why people are getting infected: gatherings, workplaces, and people not taking the disease seriously. New Jersey expands SARS-2 quarantine travel advisories to 31 states as outbreak worsens across the U.S. People traveling from those states, including New Jersey residents returning home, are being asked to voluntarily self-quarantine for 2 weeks and to seek a SARS-2 test in an effort to prevent a resurgence in New Jersey, which was among the hardest hit states at the onset of the U.S. outbreak in March and April. Additional, New York Governor Cuomo said Tuesday that the state liquor authority has suspended 27 licenses. Bars exploited the existing regulations by taking outdoor dining as an opportunity to facilitate outdoor drinking when that was not what the government authorized. He said the state will have to roll back bar and restaurant reopenings if this persists. LabCorp CEO Adam Schett, I don't know. SARS-2 is spreading faster in the U.S. than the company can expand testing capacity, leading to slower turnaround time for results. So, if you've been following the videos, you've seen already a lot how they just don't feel they have the capacity to test this, and it's kind of the government's own fault for not preparing itself. Should have known better. The U.S. reported more than 1,000 SARS-2 deaths on Tuesday for the first time since May 29th. Another ominous milestone in the resurgence of the virus across the nation. CDC now advises most people with active cases of SARS-2 to isolate for 10 days after symptoms begin and 24 hours after their fever has broken. After that, they are free to leave isolation. For those who have a positive test that are asymptomatic, the Public Health Agency, as of Friday, recommended isolating the 10 days from the testing date. Oh, excuse me. So one thing we don't know is that we don't know how long somebody can be infectious. Somebody might get better, catch it again. Well, can they spread it again? No, they haven't released anything on that yet that I've seen. Outbreaks are still ravaging nursing homes all over America. Just every day is just new outbreaks all over the nursing homes. It never ends. Millions of people, mostly young, are moving around the country more than ever before as colleges close, jobs vaporize, and multiple family generations cluster together to ride out the storm. Before the pandemic, those moves have been declining and happening later in life, Frey said. The Pew survey shows that trend sharply reversing, with people naming a wide range of reasons for moving. Nearly 1 in 4 of all movers said they moved because their school closed, while nearly 1 in 5 said they moved for financial reasons, including job loss. Silently, more than a quarter said they moved because they thought the risk of SARS-2 exposure was higher where they were living. Another fifth wanted to be close to family. Yeah, a lot of movement going on all over the world because of the pandemic. Even more, the surge in U.S. cases has left labs overwhelmed and SARS-2 tests delayed. There it goes again. They're gonna blame that they don't have what it takes to test and contact trace, and then numbers are gonna just explode, and there won't be anybody to report them. Florida, a weekend gathering in Pahokee drew about 600 people who neither wore masks or practiced social distancing. Palm Beach officials want answers and are now talking about setting curfews. Eventually, police came and dispersed. No one was arrested. Videos on Facebook showed fights breaking out at block parties. That's just disgraceful. Maryland, people ages 2 and older will be required to wear masks in indoor places in Baltimore County beginning at 9 a.m. And I think that's on Thursday, This Thursday. SARS-2 has also victimized California's hospitals. Hospitals can see up to a $15 billion net loss in revenues through 2020. Another $2.1 billion by April of next year. We've had to reduce hours and temporarily furlough many care team members. LA County will give $20 gift cards to infected if they cooperate with contact tracers. Less than 50% of LA County's infected residents have given information to contact tracers. See, I didn't know it was that bad. I did not know the contact tracing was that bad here. Right here where I'm at. The middle of this mess. People have told us that they're fearful of losing their housing, their jobs, and their relationships. The Department of Justice has accused 2 Chinese nationals working on behalf of China of stealing trade secrets and hacking into computer systems of firms working on SARS-2 vaccine. Li Xiaoyu and Dong Jiazi conducted a global hacking campaign. China at it again. 95 NFL players test positive for SARS-2. 23 new cases in 2 weeks. Louisiana delays easing SARS-2 restrictions. Reckless. Expert warns air conditioning system in schools don't have filtration systems to remove SARS-2 from air, putting kids at risk. Colorado. Government police ordered alcohol sales in Colorado to cease at 10 p.m. to prevent youth from gathering. Now is not the time to party. More than obvious. And then lastly, some international news. In Mexico, women's murders have spiked during SARS-2 pandemic. Blame has been put partly on domestic abuse from quarantined families. SARS-2 claims 3 bishops in a week from Bangladesh, Bolivia, and Brazil. SARS-2, new graves dug at Brazil cemetery. Villa Formosa Cemetery is one of the largest in Sao Paulo. India, SARS-2 cases surge among factory workers post-lockdown. One boss at a motorbike factory said workers should learn to live with the virus. I think Trump said that a couple of days ago. Despite masks and social distancing, outbreaks are still happening and union leaders are calling for factories to close. Workers struggling for money have no choice but to keep going. India. Nearly 1 in 4 residents in India's capital, Delhi, have been exposed to SARS-2 infection. Antibody tests on a random sample of people suggest. The government survey said 23.48% of the 21,387 people whose blood samples were tested had SARS-2 antibodies. South Africa. Hijackers make off with infectious SARS-2 tests. It's not the first time. Last month, hundreds of kits marked as urgent were found dumped on the side of a national road in the Eastern Cape. I wonder what that's about. Are they trying to mess with the numbers? Are they hiring people to just steal tests and throw them away? Are people stealing these to use them to infect others? That's very strange. Zimbabwe. President Emerson Mnangagwa said on Tuesday his government would impose a nighttime curfew and tighten other measures to tackle rising SARS-2 infections, adding that anyone who challenged the rules face severe punishment. Critics and opposition said the new steps were linked to anti-government protests planned for next week. So that's today's news and updates, numbers. Tomorrow should be another really large day, full of more disaster and chaos. I'll see as I search through all the headlines, hundreds of headlines. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you can, share the video, share it to a friend, spread it around. And thank you again.